think you can kill me at any moment you wish. I'm just itching to kill you.
That Alright, we are here with the long awaited Aang versus Korra debate. Okay. It's finally putting this debate to rest on who's really better, who had the better show, better villains, better feats and stuff like that. Alright. So let's just get into this shit. Cause it's late. It's late as fuck while I'm recording this. Alright, so first up, Team Aang versus Team Korra. Aang's team is washing Korra's team. Not even debate. It's not even debate. What you call it? Zuko. Come on, Zuko versus what was that nigga named Mako? It's 10 times better. Zuko is a 10 times better firebender than Mako is. He will put him in the dirt. Toph Bolin. Toph would cook Bolin without even breaking a sweat. What? Katara versus Korra? Just waterbending Korra? Come on. Katara taught Korra how to waterbend. She's gonna put belt to ass to Korra. And then Asami versus Sokka or Suki, they'd cook her shit. Alright. There is nobody on Team Korra that can hang with anybody from Aang's team. That's just an undeniable fact. All they will get easily washed, put in a pack, put in a blender. Okay. Let's just stop that one right there. That argument is so annoying to people who thinks anybody on Korra's team can hang with OG Team Avatar. But you know what? Let them be delusional. That's them. Okay? Next, the villains. Now, honestly, this one tough. Because, like, Korra villains are very good. But, you know, Avatar villains, Aang villains was good as fuck, too. But ultimately, I had to kind of split this up. So for me, the better written villains was Korra. Like Korra villains were written better than Aang's villains. A lot of Aang's villains were written kind of childish. Besides like Azula and Ozai, you know. But even General Zhao, he like they wasn't written terribly because they did crazy shit. But compared to like the Red Lotus and Kuvira and Amon, like I ain't gonna lie, Korra had the better written villains. But like the stronger villains was Aang. Aang's villains would have washed Korra's villains. Besides, what's his nigga name? Unalak or whatever the fuck who had I said Rava Vatu, who had the dark spirit in him. Like if he didn't have that spirit within him, he's not that great of a villain. He's very trash. He's like General Zhao level of trash. Oof. But you know, with that nigga Vatu, he's Avatar level threat. Like nobody can hang with him besides the Avatar. But without it, anybody for real can wash Unalak. Alright, he's not that strong. He wasn't that good. But what you call it? I do be seeing how niggas think Ozai was weak, even though he was the strongest firebender. He was even stronger than Iroh, which that is to be stated multiple times in Avatar. That Ozai is stronger than Iroh. But some people still like to believe that, and I love Iroh. But even I know he's not as strong as Ozai. It's not even a debate. But yeah, in all reality, there's not much villains that are better than each other in Avatar. But like But like writing wise, you gotta go Korra. I ain't gonna lie, like Korra writing sucked ass, but it only sucked ass for Korra, never anybody else. Everybody else had pretty solid writing and solid character development. Besides Korra, like how is your show and you get ass writing? I don't understand that. That's just me, like, speaking of villains, which we got? I gotta talk about the Dai Li. Cause I saw niggas online talking about the Dai Li were like not even a threat. They was like a week of a villain type of shit. No, they was not. The Dai Li were nice. They were the Ambu Black Ops of the Earth Kingdom. What? How they would just bury you underground, under earth, from the shadows, and silent. They got one of the loudest elements to bend, and they doing it silent and deadly. These niggas was ninjas. These niggas was different. The Dai Li were different type of villains. I ain't gonna lie. That's why that nigga Aang died. Alright? He died, but he didn't die, you know? That nigga heart definitely stopped when Azula shot that nigga with that lightning. If Katara ain't have that spirit waters, Aang would have been cooked. The series would have been over right there. Okay? But let me get into the main gritty thing, being Aang versus Korra. Now first, I want to talk their development as a character. Aang as a character development was 1,000 times better than Korra. Because Korra didn't start to develop as a character until after her fight with the Red Lotus, and she had that metal poisoning instead. Not until that fight did she have to do inner self reflection and stuff like that and try to progress as a character. Because before that, she was just this stagnant character who didn't listen, who just did her own shit and kept fucking up. And always wanted to blame other people for her problems and shit. Like, Korra was so annoying. She was such a bad written character, which I hate. Because her show is good. Like, Legend of Korra is actually a very good show. But Aang, he just that character development for Aang, because you saw him go from a goofy little kid, and he grew up to be just a leader of nations at the age of fucking 12. Well, no, age of 13, because the show ended when he was 13. He was 13 years old and leader of all the four nations, basically, and bringing balance and peace. Korra, she just left. Like, after opening the spirit world, she fucking left Earth and just traveled the spirit realm. Like, I know people are trying to debate whether Korra destroyed the world or not. I ain't gonna lie. Korra definitely kind of fucked it up a bit. But low key, I agree with her releasing the spirits. Because her having the spirits live amongst the humans, that is how the Avatar world was first about. Like, spirits and humans live together on all on the same planet and shit. And because Avatar One separated them, like there was not like the Avatar goal is to get true balance, but try to exclude certain people. So it's like, Avatar One kind of failed, and Korra thought that doing that was right way, which it was right. But at the same time, if you're gonna do that shit, don't just up and leave. She upped and left everybody because they was like whole time they could do this without me. Like, no, shorty, the world's apocalyptic now. What the fuck am I saying? The world is in shambles, and she just upped and left. Like, whoo, whoo. I ain't gonna lie, bro. The writers be pissing me off, bro. They did Korra so dirty in her own show. Like, it's honestly fucking insane how bad Korra writing was. And she was such a good character. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I fucked with Korra. But her writing just dragged her down so much, where it's like, I can't enjoy her as much as I would like to. But yeah, let's get talk about the fights though. We always talk about who will win in the fight, Korra versus Aang. Aang is watching her. I'm sorry, bro. Korra, she physically, she's probably like, a bit stronger than Aang physically, but just Aang is just so mastered in all techniques. It's like Korra doesn't even have to stand a chance. And like niggas talk about how old Cooks Korra can metal bend and shit like that in the first Avatar that could. And I'm just like, that's not gonna give her an upper hand against Aang. And especially we know that, to me, I call bullshit on that. Like there's no way that I believe that Aang couldn't learn metal bending. I definitely believe Aang probably picked up a couple techniques of metal bending along his journey and fucking from Toph. Because there's just no way he didn't know how to move any type of metal. But I could understand it, him being an air nomad and that was Earth. It was his hardest element to use. So I can understand how he didn't get it. And I can understand how Korra does. But yet again, that metal shit wouldn't give him the upper hand for the simple fact that seismic sense that he learned from Toph, that's already gonna cut Korra. Cause we saw a old lady Toph when Korra was trying to get any hits on her, she was getting washed. She was getting literally put in the mud because she couldn't land a hit on Toph at an old ass age. Now imagine that being Aang in his prime versus Korra. I and not to forget, y'all be talking about energy bending. This nigga, this nigga Aang literally learned the technique from the lion turtles himself. While Korra tapped into it through Aang's memories. Like, and honestly, Aang probably, you saw when he took away that nigga bloodbending that he got way more control with energy bending as the older he got. So I'm just like, whoo, whoo, that boy Aang gonna put paws on her. Like Aang would beat Korra in a fight, and that's just cause simply Korra can't hang. Korra cannot hang with Aang, right? She cannot, and that's sad to say. Especially watching Korra, like I really liked Korra so much, but they kept making her lose. Like they was making her lose to bums at that. Like not her main villains weren't even the only ones that were beating Korra. Her side villains, like what the fuck? Remember when that bitch got kidnapped by the chi blockers? Granted, them chi blockers is nice, but damn, bro, she never beat them chi blockers up for real. Them chi blockers every time they fucking pieced her shit up. Like she gave none of them niggas hands for real. Like fuck, Korra every time she got in a fight, she was getting cooked. Against Kovira, Kovira literally was saucing her shit. Kovira was like us, light work, us, light work, us, light work. Like nothing that fucking Kovira, nothing Korra did to Kovira was touching her. And I'm just like, damn, that's just crazy to me. And then I want to talk about what you call it. Y'all be talking about how if they were to switch past and Korra had to fight Aang's villains, and Aang's were to fight Korra villains, who would have it easier? Honestly, they both would have it easy as fuck. Because Korra, especially being a more aggressive avatar, an aggressive person, she would have been putting fucking hands on niggas back then. I ain't gonna lie. I feel like she would have been putting hands on niggas. Cause like Zuko, she would have put in back. General Zhao, I feel like, with the whole water spirit and shit, it would have played out the same way with him going into the that smoke void shit where like all their memories was fucked up. It was weird. I forgot what it was called. But like Azula, I don't know that. Azula versus Korra would be tough because Azula in her prime when she locked the fuck in and not psychopathic, she was more dangerous than Ozai. So I'm like, cool. I'm like, the whole time I'm leaning towards giving it to Azula more, just because like I don't think Korra could hang with Azula for real. Like, not Azula who's locked the fuck in, and Aang he was really cooking Azula because of how passive he was with his moves. Like he always was calm during a battle with Azula and trying to outsmart her or try to do some certain shit. Like the 2v1 with Azula, Zuko. Well, the triple threat. I'm saying 2v1, the triple threat when Zuko, Aang, and Azula was all fighting each other. Like you saw how Aang reacted when Azula shot that fire at Zuko and laid that nigga out. That nigga Aang was about to skedaddle. Okay, he was about to skedaddle. Like Azula was folding both of them niggas at the same time. It wasn't until the whole gang pulled up where Azula was like, "Alright, chief, y'all niggas about to jump me. Y'all niggas really about to jump me though. Alright, I'll surrender. I'm lying. Uh, Shot Iroh in his fucking chest. And then escaped. Like Azula was a different type of demon ass child. But like honestly, I would give it to Korra because Avatar stay and shit and metal bending. I would have to give her that because like once Korra uses her metal bending cuffs Azula down to the ground, similar to what like Katara did at the end. I feel like overall Korra would win, but that would be tough fights. That would be hard fights. And then her fighting the Dai Li, I think it would play out the same. Like I'm sorry, the Dai Li, they were cooking shit. The Dai Li were really like that, especially with Lao Fang and when they all was there trying to jump that nigga in Katara. And remember, Aang died. Like I just feel like it would play out the same way. Like I feel like if they both were to switch, everything would play out the same except for Aang. I feel like if Aang were to switch with Korra, two things wouldn't happen. Like the Rava versus Fatu fight, I don't believe that would happen. For the simple fact, because of how spiritual aligned Aang is, that he just knows that something is gonna be off, and like his just like his nature and his character is just like he's not gonna fall for the same shit that Korra fell for in order to open the gates and release fucking Vatu. And then Kovira, because Kovira only took over the whole all the nations and shit only because Korra left and got poisoned and she just disappeared. And she was technically crippled. But when she got that back and shit and she just disappeared, that's when Kovira started to take over and initiate her plan. If Aang if Aang was there, he wouldn't have left for the simple fact because of his whole thing with air nomads. He doesn't leave fights and shit like that. Like remember when he came back, when he almost died and woke back up again, he was like, "I just want to do it solo dolo now," because he's scared of his friends. So like, really, the Kovira and Vatu shit would not happen if Aang was in Korra's situation, and Aang would not have lost access to his past lives. I'm sorry. And speaking of past lives, why didn't Korra ever fucking talk to her past lives? The only nigga she talked to was Juan when she showed his fucking life, and then Aang that one time when she restored his bending. Besides that, Korra never talked to any of her past lives. Like she like because before they got erased, she could have hit up Kyoshi. Like, come on. She could have hit up Kyoshi and any other avatar to ask what the fuck to do. And instead, she did nothing. Like, they wrote her to do nothing. Like, the avatar has so much shit that they could have pulled information from and had Korra do in order not to lose the Avatar state, but instead they did none of that shit and just got rid of it. Which now I think about it, is not surprising they got rid of it. Because they didn't fucking use that. They didn't use it. They didn't use it. And they basically was just like they had no plans of using it. Basically is what I'm seeing now. Which is so crazy. Which what the fuck were they thinking writing Legend of Korra? Oh my god. Oh my god, the writers sucked. Like, can we, like, with the new show that's dropping, get none of the Korra writers, okay? None of them. Because they fucking suck. They fucking suck. Because holy shit. That was like a key thing with Aang. Whenever he was in like real tough scenarios that he couldn't figure out on his own, he'll always just hit up one of his past Avatar lives and was like, "Yo, Roku, bro, what would I do in this situation? What would you do in this situation? Avatar Kyoshi, what would you like?" And then remember how like the Avatar spirits, they even knew of up and coming threats because Roku's the one that warned Aang about Sozin's coming. Like, nigga, Roku, you dead. So how you know it's about to return? Spiritual shit, right? You're telling me none of the avatars, even Juan, even when she communicated with Juan couldn't be like, yo, this nigga Unalak, he's gonna release fucking Vatu. You can't trust that spirit right there. You can't trust it. But instead, they did flashback. Which, speaking of flashback, that animation style in that episode was so fucking nice. Which was even crazier because that was season two, and season two animation fucking sucked. But man, that shit was noise. That shit was noise. Like, use that animation style on like a Kyoshi little special where we get to see Kyoshi, or like what was her name? Avatar Tenshin or something? The bald airbender woman? I forgot her name. I need me something on that. I know there's light novels on that, which I gotta read. But I need me something on that. But I've really been yapping a lot though. Anyways, fuck, get off of this fucking topic because I've been yapping for real. But overall, Aang is gonna beat Korra. Like, Aang villains were tougher, were stronger opponents, and then Aang, just his whole life, there's nothing that Korra can do to compete with Aang because he was just at such a different level than Korra was at her time as the Avatar. And that's just facts. Like, as much like I keep saying, I love Korra, but at the end of the day, if you were to have a fight against Aang, Aang will win. Overall, Aang will win. Physically, you might be stronger, but you are not that strong when it comes to bending all four elements. Like, yes, in the TV show, and he didn't master them, but I'm talking about Prime. I'm talking about they both same age, they both at the peak of their abilities and shit. Peak ability, Aang would cook her shit. Like, and I low key believe Aang does know lightning bending. Same with Zuko. Hold up. Because there's nowhere I believe that lightning bending being a royal family only technique just spread it out into the world on its own without nobody teaching him. Especially because who gonna teach him? Iroh was retired. Azula was locked up in asylum. Ozai locked up in jail. The only people who knows about lightning bending and how to do it was Aang and Zuko. They both know how to lightning bend. So, boom, another feat getting into Aang. Y'all be like, oh, Korra can metal bend, Aang can lightning bend. Okay, she doesn't know how to redirect lightning. Granted, Aang would never use it because of how deadly it is. And he doesn't like to kill. And it goes against his morals. So he wouldn't use it. But just know that shit will be in his bag. And the same thing with earlier I was saying with how Zuko's such a better firebender than Mako. Like Zuko, he knows lightning bending. There's no way he doesn't at his age now, and how he's overcome all his things that were holding him back. He knows lightning bending, and he can do it most likely better than Mako, because Mako was only using that shit as an electrician. He wasn't really using that for fights for real. And Grant, even if he was, Zuko is a trained martial artist, while Mako is a fucking street urchin. He's a street thug turned cop. He doesn't have the training that Zuko does. Nobody on Team Korra has the training that niggas on Team Aang did. So like that right there, Team Korra can't fuck with Team Aang. That's why I'm trying to say with Korra versus Aang. Like yeah, Korra was trained by a White Lotus. Aang was trained by nigga leaders of nations. Aang was trained by Zuko, leader of the Fire Nation. Katara, the greatest waterbender on Earth. And Master Paku, another great waterbender on Earth. Toph, the greatest earthbender on Earth. Like, what do you mean? And then we know, 12 years old, Aang was a master airbender. Like he had pure masters, like of their arts behind Aang, teaching Aang everything they know. Korra, she had she had the White Lotus that Korra was training with was trash. Let's be honest. They weren't our White Lotus in Avatar. You know what I'm saying? They weren't as strong as Master Paku and that nigga Iroh and that nigga Zhong Zhong. That nigga Zhong Zhong. They were not strong as them niggas. Okay? They were not. If you would have been like, oh yeah, them White Lotus members, you know what I'm saying, trained Korra, they taught Korra, but that wouldn't add up because most of them would have been dead by the time Korra was old enough to train. So, you know, sadly Korra didn't have them type of training masters to really elevate her skills. You know what I'm saying? Because the only one who was really like that was Tenzin. And speaking of Tenzin, that brings me back to like the Red Lotus. The Red Lotus, they were so cool, but they went out so fucking sad. And then that's why I'm like, y'all always be mentioning the Red Lotus like they were that. Nigga Tenzin was bodying all of them by his dolly. Tenzin was doing that. And you think Aang wouldn't be able to do that shit? You think Aang wouldn't be able to do that shit? Someone who's way more skilled than Tenzin wouldn't be able to body the Red Lotus on his own? Yeah, yeah, so I thought. One more. Yo, I keep on saying one more thing. Like, damn, I should have wrote down everything I was going to talk about, but I didn't. And also, I'm blabbing. So, whatever. Y'all gonna hear me blab, fuck nigga. Fucking, what you call it? Y'all was saying that Aang is responsible for things Korra had to deal with in her life. And I'm like, where the fuck is that at? Where the fuck is that at? The reason why the White Lotus existed in the first place was to protect Korra from the Red Lotus. He made sure to set up precautions for Korra to be protected after Aang died. But yet, Aang is the reason why she has to fight the Red Lotus because he made sure to get her away from them. That makes no fucking sense. Y'all just be trying to argue anything for Korra's sake on why she could possibly be Aang. She cannot. Get out y'all fucking delusion. Y'all niggas are dumb. Literally dumb. Dumb as fuck. Anyways, and then what's the other one? That Amon, how is Aang responsible for Amon having a bad father? Aang was a terrible father himself. That is not fucking, that is not his fault that Amon had to go through that. Okay, yes, he took his daddy's bending away. But besides that, what did Aang do? He let the nigga live. He let the nigga go home to his family. Have a family at that. The nigga could have thrown Amon's dad in jail for life and never seen his kids. But instead, he let him go home without any bending and just be a normal human being. Instead, he wanted to be a shit father and raise his kids terribly. That was on him, not Aang. Okay? Fuck y'all niggas. trying to say that shit. And then who else? Who else? What the fuck? What the fuck is Aang probably gonna be with Unalaq? The Civil War? Civil War wasn't his fault. Literally, we saw in the beginning of Avatar that the North and the South already didn't fuck with each other. That's why they were separated. They was like, we haven't communicated with our sister tribe in so long. That's what Princess Yue has said when they arrived in the South Pole. That, or it was the North Pole. I got my poles mixed up. I might do. I might have my poles mixed up. It don't matter. But they said that the South and the North hasn't fucked with each other long before Korra was born, way before fucking Aang. Okay? Okay, so my footage just stopped recording because apparently they're saying some bullshit, but it's basically saying I've been yapping for too fucking long. Wrap up the video. So we're gonna wrap up the video with a couple things I got, with just a couple last things, a couple final thoughts. Yeah, I think Korra is overly hated. Korra is a really good show, but she gets way too much hate. She gets way too much hate. She doesn't deserve that much hate. Korra was a very good show. She wasn't the best Avatar. Okay, her job as Avatar kind of sucked. She kind of sucked at it, but it's okay. Not all the Avatars were great at their job. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't expect all Avatars to be great at their job for the simple fact we know they weren't. Like the one of the previous water Avatars, the dude with fighting off the face there. Remember, he said he completely just said fuck Earth and only focused on the spirit realm, and then that threw off the balance, and Earth was in complete chaos, which left way more for the next Avatar to do. You know what I'm saying? Like Korra, yeah, she fucked up on lots of things, but all in all, a lot of Avatars do. We cannot fully just put all this hate on Korra, and then especially Avatar Roku. Come on, the 100-Year War. Come on, Avatar Roku. You could have just killed that nigga Sozin. If Avatar Roku would have stopped Sozin, all of this shit could have been avoided. All of this shit could have been avoided, by the way, if he would have just stopped Sozin. Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra probably wouldn't have happened as much if it wasn't for Sozin. So, you know, let's not hate on Korra as much anymore, you know? But niggas still just need to stop. They can have their opinion. If they believe Korra can be Aang, let them believe Aang. But the fact of the matter is, she can't. She cannot. Simply because the writing of her character. If Korra writing was better for her character, I would have had her beating Aang. Because I liked it, Korra. If her writing was better, she would have won in the actual fight, and they developed her character more and had her like really like showing her as like she's progressing as an Avatar, and she's progressing mentally and stuff like that, then I would have given it to Korra. But they didn't show that. They kept her stagnant for 3 seasons until the Red Lotus. Until after that metal poison got to her, she had the PTSD, they fucked up her body and everything. It wasn't until that moment where she started to like really change as a character. And to me, it was way too late to start that change. Especially when you started to change on the final season. You started changing her as a character on the last season of the show. Which that right there failed. That failed. But, like I said, Korra, overly hated. 1v1 fights. Team Aang got it. Team Aang slams her. You know what I'm saying? So with that, I'm gonna end it here. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.
Yeah, don't tell me shit, nigga, I'm not tryna talk till I got like 10 bets on my wrist, men on my whip, niggas they trying to give me advice when they having a shit, niggas suck dick.